Many of you may be curious, even amazed, about what it takes to become a pro triathlete. Today I'm here to talk to you about things that I wish I knew before I turned pro. I'm retired professional triathlete TJ Tollakson, and today we're going to take a deep dive into all the lessons that I learned that if I could give myself at 23 years of age before I turned pro.
You always did have a way with women.
Get the hell out of my car, old man!
All right, number one, no single workout or day of training makes you great. This is a really hard thing that most athletes have a hard time coming to grips with. Okay, you think that if I just did this one massive training day, all of a sudden I will become so much better. It's simply not true. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. That is a mantra, that's a quote from Robert Collier that I have on my mirror still to this day. No one exercise, training session, day, or week is going to make you great. Yes, big training days are helpful. Yes, training camps for a week or 2 weeks are helpful. But really it comes down to what you're doing every day. So consistent efforts every day over years and years is what makes somebody great. Now, the one really important thing with that is if you want to consistently build year after year, you need to make sure that you're healthy. You need to do everything in your possibility to prevent being injured, because nothing will set you back as much as an injury. And nobody should know that more than me. I've had 3 hip surgeries, 2 knee surgeries, a couple other random surgeries, some back problems, some epidurals. You name it, I've been through it, and I will tell you it's the worst thing you can do for your career, and it stops progression. The next is during your off season, take minimal total time off. Okay, this is also a mistake that I had to make in my career where I took months where I did no training.
What do you think is coursing through my veins right now?
Cheese whiz?
Got really fat. Some of you, especially Paul Thomas, will remember that time. But that becomes really hard to deal with. Added weight gain takes a long time to take off. Inactivity then increases your risk of injury once you start moving again, and really can just decrease your fitness. So minimize the time you take totally off and think more of your time as like, hey, I'm gonna swim super easy, bike super easy, run super easy, and just doing a little bit of that every week in your off season.
Relax, 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 relax.
Next big lesson, number 2, pro triathlon is a business. When you become a pro triathlete, you are a business owner. Some people have incorporations, they might be an LLC, other people just run as a sole proprietor under their social security number. Whatever you do, as a pro triathlete, you are your own business. And as such, your job is 50% achieving results in the sport and 50% selling product for your sponsors. So let's break that down. We'll first look at the results side of this. This is often tough. The results side, you need results to be a pro triathlete. Nobody wants a pro triathlete that never places. You're just not getting paid, you're going to races, you're paying to race, you're paying to travel. That's not a good business. It's a business that loses money.
But on this business, I'm out.
You need to have results. Okay, so to achieve those results, you need to do what's necessary in training, but you have to remember you're not actually getting paid to train. You're getting paid to produce results. It's a harsh reality that a lot of pro triathletes still have not come to terms with, but you're getting paid for your results. Without those results, you don't really have a job. The second half of this, selling product. This is huge. Sponsorship is not putting a logo on your jersey, okay? It's selling product. And there are lots of ways you can sell product. Now, there's really only one guy in particular who sells product without doing any of this, and that's Jan Frodeno. And Jan Frodeno seems to be able to sell product without doing any additional promotion. Great for Jan. Unfortunately, nobody is able to repeat that. And I will say this, Christian Blumenfeld is also the newest Olympic gold medalist and world champion, yet does not have that same uncanny ability to sell products without working on this hustle. And so what does it take? The rest of the pro triathletes, male, female, whoever you are, they are grinding this out. They are selling by any means possible. Number one is storytelling, right? So you've seen a huge increase in storytelling, working camps, working clinics, doing coaching. All of these things help you sell products to your sponsors and provide value. Those are things you're going to get paid for. Social media posts are great. YouTube channels, great way to interact, but you've got to keep pushing products in those videos, in those posts, to find value to your sponsors. So you have to work extra hard. You've got to make it your job to grind and to do this. You see some guys who are doing this really well right now, Lionel Sanders, Sam Long, Lucy Charles Barkley, doing a great job of moving the needle by grinding it out, producing this content, telling their story, selling product. Number three, the big thing. When I was in undergrad school at the University of Iowa, we had a lecture with Warren Buffett, the great oracle from Omaha, Warren Buffett. At one time, the richest man in the world, still one of the richest men in the world. He just keeps giving more money away right now. So he gets asked this question, I'm sure, every time he lectures. Some kid raises his hand, he says, "Hey, Warren, what's your best investment advice?" And this kid thinks he's getting like some hot stock tip from Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett says, "My best advice is to invest in yourself." Okay, so I wish that I would have known more of this when I was a pro triathlete. Invest in yourself. As a pro triathlete, what does that mean? Well, you need to make good choices. So athletes are often dealt with this deal where it's like, hey, I can make a lot of money from a sponsor that has an inferior product, or I could go purchase that same product from a different company that's not gonna pay me anything, but it's gonna help me be faster. What should I do? It's a tough dilemma. I'm really proud to say that I sponsor Andy Potts right now, but I will also tell you that Andy Potts spent his entire career, most of his career, making these wrong choices. And so he ends up riding CPO bikes and all these things that are not helping optimize his performance. I can tell you the first time Andy rode a Dimond bike was at Challenge Cancun. He destroyed the race, especially on the bike, and was sold. He was not under contract, but he said, "You're right, this was a huge mistake. I should have been on this faster." It doesn't matter whether it's your helmet, your running shoes, your tires. Pros have all these choices. Some things make minimal impact, and I will tell you about that. Your sunglass sponsor probably, unless they're also your helmet sponsor, probably has little impact on how well you're going to perform in your race. But other things like your apparel, your tires, your shoes, huge impact on how you can perform. And making compromises is not a good way to make a living off your race results. And you've seen a lot of athletes struggle with this. They sign big contracts and then they struggle to ever achieve those same results. I'll use Natasha Badman as an example. She's a friend. The first year I won Eagleman in 2007, she was the women's co-champion with me. So we were on the podium hosting giant Eagle trophies together. Natasha won Hawaii in an unbelievable amount of times, but she only did so on one bike, and that was the Cat Cheetah. She tried numerous times to ride other bikes and did not have the same level of success, so always went back to that. I use her as an example to say your equipment matters, and that nobody wants to lose 30 seconds a mile because they signed some contract with Joe's Rubber Shoe Company, when in fact they could be running in the fastest shoe available and destroying their competition, right?
Sounds nice.
This has to do with investing in yourself. The other side of investing in yourself, it's really important, is the recovery modalities, the treatments, having regular massage, having a sports psychologist, having a team of people that help you with this, right? And so spending money on these things is an investment, just like a business spends money on marketing, they spend money on engineering, they spend money on employees. You have to spend money in your business to make money, and so you must invest in yourself to achieve those results. So that dovetails really nicely into my next one, which is surround yourself with people who have similar ideals. There's this great philosophy out there that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. Athletically, think about the 5 people you spend time with. That's who you are. You're an average in your life of those 5 people you spend the most time with. So I feel really lucky in my career that at different times I've trained with some amazing athletes. I will also say that for way too long and for different times, I trained mostly with myself, and that was a mistake, and that's something I wish I would have rectified sooner in my career. I'll name 6 triathletes right now that I trained with that had a huge impact on my life. The first one, my first kind of regular training partner in Tucson, retired ITU Olympic alternate for the US team, Doug Freeman. We lived together in Tucson for a long time. Tim O'Donnell and I lived at the Olympic Training Center together. He also lived in Boulder for a time period when I was there. Next would be Craig Alexander, Crowe, Ironman world champion. Before Crowe's first win in 2008, I actually spent the entire summer with him in Boulder. We did all our training together. It buried me. I was 251st in Kona that year. He was first, yet we did all our training together. The next big training partner that I had was Stuart Hayes. Stuart Hayes was an Olympian in 2012 in London Olympics when the Brownlee brothers won. He was the 3rd Brit on the team. Stuart was a great training partner, and a lot of that had to do because we were after different goals, and so we weren't directly competing against each other all the time. My last tip, winning. Number 1.
Rule number 1. I'm number 1.
Finishing first is the most important thing you can do for your career. I will never forget, in 2007, I won my first major race, which was the Eagle Man Triathlon, but it was one of the highest paying. It was $10,000 prize purse, and this is a long time ago, 2007, $10,000 for first place. Tony DeBoom called me after that race and he said, today is the arrival of TJ Tollakson. Everything changed from that day on. Okay, and it wasn't my only win, but I will say out of the few wins that I had in my career, it was the most memorable in terms of like what it did to change my life, because it truly did change my life. And so I will say this, 1 win is worth 10 top 10 finishes in a year. Okay, it's more valuable. It's worth more than 5 top 3 finishes. And I know because I got a ton of top 3 finishes in Ironman performances. But those wins matter so much more.
If you ain't first, you're last.
Everybody remembers the winner. Few people remember the podium, and almost nobody remembers who was in the top 10 at these races. So winning really matters and has the ability. So my advice to myself, my advice to anyone who aspires to do this, fewer races, more quality races. I'm gonna go all Jerry Maguire on you here because this matters. Fewer races, more quality races. That's the recipe for the best success in the sport. It's really hard because when I first started, man, I wanted to race every weekend and jump between this distance and that distance and cram them in and go here and travel here. It's a really hard way to make a living. And when your results are mediocre, the exposure you get from that is mediocre as well. So it pays to be a winner. That's it. Those are my tips I wish I knew before I turned pro. I hope this helps you in your journey. If you enjoyed this video, you want to see more of it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I've got all kinds of great Ironman tips on training, nutrition, racing, amazing content. I would love for you to join me on this journey. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check it out every week.